Hi guys, how's it going? My name's Tristan. I'm an Aussie living in Colorado, and as you can see behind me, over the last few months I've been converting my Chevy Express 1500 van into a pretty rad little camper. Just like anyone, I've devoured like countless videos and probably even more articles. It's been really helpful to learn from people who actually know what they're doing. I'm gonna go ahead and touch these two ends together and we'll see what happens. And secondly, it's just been really inspiring to watch other people tackle this process. We all do this so differently, and I think that's part of what makes van building such a rewarding experience, is that each van ends up being unique. And so yeah, that's pretty rad. I think the best way for me to do this video is to just give you guys a quick tour around the van, and then I will splice in clips of me in the construction process, trying to be helpful, generally just being a bit of an idiot. And I'll also try and give you a timecode index in the description so that you can jump to the important stuff, skip the garbage if you want to. So without too much more f***ing around, let's go have a look. Time to make the van. Done some taking back of most of the rusty bits, shit like that, and I'm just going to go to town in here with some of this Rust-Oleum Pro primer. I'm inside the van currently, obviously, and let me just give you a little walk around, crawl around. I'm on my knees. Here we have metal van floor, we have some battens, and then some 3/4 inch plywood. And between each of these battens, you can't see right now, but there is the same stuff as I have on the walls in terms of insulation. Pretty sure it's called thermosheet. Like bang for your buck for insulation, that's pretty much as good as you're gonna get. You get an R value of 6 out of an inch of thickness. It's definitely a lot warmer in there than it used to be. So I guess when the alternative is a Coke can on wheels, pretty much anything is a trade up. Attached to the floor is the structure of the walls. You can see here that each of the wall supports is a piece of slotted steel bolted and attached to the floor, and it's got timber battens inserted into it. But that's going to make things delicious when it comes time to put the lining in. You can't beat working with timber. The first thing you see when you open the doors is the storage areas, and this top just flops over. Inside I have such things as fancy cheese grater, chopping board, kitchen implements, and also in there is where I keep my recycling. Over on this side of town is another storage bin. This one's actually got a door on the front with a little clip on it. Here is where I keep all my cutlery, plates, dishes. Down here is some washing up gear, some more utensils. And down the back here is where I keep the propane canisters. The person who had it first, I think, was obviously like having a full 70s flashback moment and decided to put these portholes in it. For me, that was a big selling point, because who doesn't want portholes in their van? I don't know if you can see here, but this is where the porthole hangs out. You can close that, lock it down, bring it up here, and she'll hang out quite happily like that. On the ceiling, you can see I've installed these pieces of steel angle, and again, just put timber in there so that I can attach stuff to it. Getting the structure in place has been mind-bending. You're basically working with the most curved, weird, angled space, I think, pretty much that exists in the whole planet. And one other of my main concerns was that sometimes it's been really handy to use this thing to carry materials around. All that I wanted was a slightly more comfortable bed, somewhere that wasn't super cold, and some bench space to cook out, work on my computer, and like have a beer and hang out, have a chat, play some Jenga. Right, so in terms of the functionality of what I've got going on in here, cabinets. These things were an absolute bitch. I f***ed them up many times. Not the actual cabinet itself, but working out how this hinge system was going to work. My brain actually exploded everywhere multiple times. You can see here I've butchered this door a few times trying to get it work with a different hinge, but this was the ultimate solution. Both have latches on them and chains. So this actually becomes a horizontal work surface. Various containers, tea, coffee, misc, and other. Very important, AeroPress, cans, spices. Throw that away. That's the same thing down here. One thing that I wasn't anticipating was that I was going to have too much storage. And the all-important Mountain House backcountry meals. And clothes. This bed, this thing's pretty sweet. I got the idea off a couple of people on the internet. Thank you. The whole thing lifts up. We have 6 storage space under here. And then, watch your fingers, mate. And then you just give it a pull. She comes out, slides away. See, the guy who came up with the idea called it like the magical expanding, folding, lifting, ultra cool bed thing, or whatever. Anyway, that's gonna be rad. And a lot of the time I find myself just sleeping on this. This whole system here actually pulls out, and then I usually just pull it out a bit like this, move the mattress over. But if you want to go the whole hog, get rid of this cushion. This thing obviously lifts up. There's stupid amounts of storage in here. Underneath here is a support for the transforming bed guy. Pull it out. Take the bed support. It actually dowels into the floor. Drop it down, give it a bit of a tap. Then take a bolt with a wing nut on the end. Do that up real quick. And the platform becomes solid as a rock. In the storage cupboard I have a much thicker foam mattress. Slide away the bed. This goes back in here. And that's kind of it. It's an absolute treat. This is like the kitchen area. Obviously, no sink. Just go outside and wash my stuff up like I always do. This little guy is my patented wine delivery service, and basically what happens here is you turn the knob, red wine comes out of the tap. Down here is where the stove lives. There's also a bin, water jerry. This is where my gas stove lives, so as you can see, pretty easy to get that out, whack it down there, throw a canister on it, start cooking, and Bob's your uncle. And of course, the most important thing, ambience creating porthole window shelf thing. Camera down for a sec, because my weak arms are getting tired. This is a Fulter 48-inch heavy-duty drawer slide system. I've had a lot of bad experience with cabinets and drawer slides and stuff like that in the past, so this one was rad. It's absolutely rock solid. These things can hold up 250 kilos, so might be time to crack into the Twinkies, eh? If I want to like wax a snowboard or whatever, I can come out here, cook on it, cut on it, use it as a workbench. It comes all the way out. There's a chalkboard on top of it for people to write things on, and as you can see, my dad has graffitied it. The whole lid flips up. I've got a little propane heater in here just in case it gets a little chilly out. I've got little containers here for dry goods, pasta, cereal, rice, that kind of thing. I got a little shitty hatchet that is desperately in need of a sharpen. Fruit, vegetables, all that kind of stuff lives in here. When the lid's down, it becomes a work area. It's super strong. Yep, that's it. I'm gonna get an auxiliary battery in here, an inverter, run a 12-volt system, get a 120-volt system going for some power outlets and stuff to charge cameras, laptops. I wonder if it'll take my hair straightener. That's an interesting question. Here is the kitchen / work area. Extremely simple, as you can see. 3 light switches, obviously. Light switch, light switch. This one controls the extraction fan, which goes out that way. This is a 120-volt power outlet, wired into the inverter. Down here, I'm gonna put a center console. I'm not sure what's gonna happen here just yet. I'll probably put, I wanna put a little door there, So I can crack that, and then if I ever need to carry like long lengths of timber, I can just run them through. What else comes in long lengths? Christmas tree, swimming pool. This door is currently locked in the open position because when I'm driving I like to be able to see what's coming behind me. But it also locks this way. This is also a chalkboard. From here, basically it's roughing in the electrical, doing all the wiring, and then it's gonna come time to clad this thing. Get the stepmom to make me a nice cushion. I'm probably up to about nine or 10 full man days of work. And to be honest, like most of that time I've been sitting around scratching my head doing f*** all. So hopefully things speed up a little bit. For now, this is where we're at. There's a Prius down there. Get out of here. Hello chaps, here in the van, listening to Queen records back to back. And doing some electrical. And by that I mean absolutely massacring everything that could possibly go wrong. Just got your auxiliary battery, power inverter, it's a 1000 watt pure sine wave inverter, the 12 volt fuse box, and I have a fuse also between the battery and the inverter, just for shits and giggles. Thought it'd be fun. In the front here, I built a little center console, and inside here is storage and stuff like that. Underneath here is the auxiliary battery, the inverter. I've got one of the 12 volt circuits live. I'm gonna go ahead and touch these two ends together and we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. If the lights turn on, we're good. That is mega. Boop, 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 boop. What a day. I'm pretty amped, pun intended. Finished the majority of the electrical today, and against all the odds, some of it actually works. Cleaned up all the junk. The inverter works. Charging up my battery right now. This is all the DC 12 voltage stuff. This is actually going to be a cupboard like storage that you access from outside. It is an absolute mess in here. This is what's happening in the engine bay, the power zone, the takeoff unit. The starter battery hooked up to the isolator, and the isolator is hooked up to the auxiliary battery, and that obviously disappears down to the madness of the engine, and who really knows what the hell happens in there. Things are a bit of a mess in here. Got your bits of stuff, measurers, nonsense diagrams, square, bits of the electrical system that are not in the electrical system. Hot tip for the day, something I picked up a while ago. Get yourself a copy of SketchUp. It's a Google product, it's sick. And it's actually quite fun to use. I snuck in a couple of hours to get started on the lining today. Here, let me give you a little look around. Standard 6" by 3/4" shiplap. I actually decided at the last minute while I was at Home Depot to pick up some more insulation for the ceiling. Might as well put something in there. It's gonna be awesome for wintertime, but also for the summertime when I'm in the middle of Utah hunting for aliens and the cosmic rays are beating down. Should keep it pretty cool in here. It was actually quite cold, freezing today, such that I had to spend quite a lot of the day in my Patagucci, so I felt extra fancy. I was gonna wind it up today after I did the electrical, but thought I'd crack on and have a look at the flooring. I think it's turned out pretty good. I just finished it then. I don't know, 20 bucks a box or something. I think I've used 2 boxes. This stuff goes down quick. Oh, traffic master. Walk into a Home Depot, they'll have some sitting around, and the old boys there will probably recommend it to you anyway, so. As always, leaving expansion gaps just in case. Pretty stoked with that. I think it looks grand. On the edge here, I'm gonna do a walnut trim. That's it, flooring done. And here's what's happening inside the van. Ceiling is lined and insulated. One of the walls is mostly lined and insulated. Bed area and storage is mostly lined and kind of insulated. This is pretty cool. Works real good. Yeah, so you can see all the lines are working out quite well. Hey chaps, just putting the finishing touches on the flooring. Just thought I'd put some of this walnut, a bit more hard wearing. Also should look pretty sweet. It's good to be checking this stuff off the list. I was wandering around Walmart yesterday and I saw these and I just had to do it. Found these radical wall sconces, which are pretty outrageous, but I think it's cool. You can light the beacons for weary travelers and what have you. Spent another hour or so just hooking up the last of the electrical and putting switches on everything. It's pretty cool. And they work. And this guy, which is the ventilation fan, and actually it's kind of rank looking. It sort of looks like the Terminator. I'm hoping that it's going to do the job keeping the condensation and general moistness ratios down. Look at him there with his little red eye. It's obviously supposed to be mounted in the ceiling. Sort of was losing the will to live thinking about doing that, so cutting some corners and I'm just going to vent it into this other cupboard that's going to be separate from the main area. Obviously these doors used to go to the inside, now they don't. And I've turned this into a little outside storage cupboard, mostly for wet stuff, outdoor gear, snowboarding stuff, touring gear. And this is the little wine guy that I was telling you about. This thing just goes onto a wine box and then the wine comes through here and goes to that tap. Pretty simple, but I think everyone needs a way to easily access their wine through a garden tap. Good evening, fellow people of the internet. Managed to get a fair bit done today. Basically just getting this other wall of lining on. Decided to turn this into a door so I can get a camp stove in there. Little bits like this. Just gonna slot in. Man, it's gonna look sick. Welcome to day 9,463. Today I'm going to be oiling this timber. A little bit bland, a little bit light. Watco Danish oil. They're calling it a medium walnut finish. What that means, I don't know. Meadows and frost. There's always something found for what is lost. Actually done here is essentially I've built a pirate ship, which is fine because pirates rock. It was getting a little dark in here, so what I've done is I've painted the ceiling white, which kind of dresses it up a little bit. So anyway, while the first coat of that's drying, I'm going to put this bench top in. some back storage going on. Other side as well. I think I might actually be finished with the carpentry, which is pretty exciting. I mean, I love carpentry, don't get me wrong, it's awesome. But this thing has been like a time-devouring monster, and I'm ready to be done. Curtains I just recently finished, pretty simple. I just bought 2 lengths of aluminium rod from Home Depot, cut them to length, drilled holes in the framework here, jammed them in. And these guys are just some light blocking fabric that I found at Walmart, cut it up, sewed it into a curtain, and that just pulls over thusly. I do have some thicker window coverings that I can stick on with magnets if I want to. They kind of hide away most of the time because it just doesn't really get that cold. That'll about do it for me. If you guys have any questions or comments, hit me up below and I'll do my best to answer and help out. And other than that, happy building. Yo!